Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you from the Joy FM studios, Kokumlimle in Accra, at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by Telisol 4G, just a touch. And coming up, Joint Police and Military Team in Ho arrest members affiliated to Homeland Study Group Foundation, agitating for an independent state they call Western Togoland. We'll speak live to our correspondent and get an update from an Accra High Court where leader of the group is expected to appear. Also, Accra High Court gives Electoral Commission 1 year to operationalize law allowing Ghanaians resident abroad to participate in national elections. We have details live from the court. Also in this package, Fisheries Ministry vows to arrest and imprison fishermen who defied the directive not to fish within the close season, which starts exactly a week today.
We have a huge team who will ensure that everybody complies. There are fixed fishing laws, which includes seizure of fishing to take a huge fine and then even imprisonment.
More, some fisheries experts say the May-June date is not backed by scientific research. And in sports,
Match day 10 of the normalization special competition will come off as scheduled this afternoon following the Referees Association of Ghana's decision to call off their strike. And of course, Liverpool fans are still buzzing after yesterday's unbelievable comeback in the UEFA Champions League.
Definitely, we will tell you how Liverpool pulled off that epic comeback ever against Barcelona to book a place in the Champions League final.
I'm really happy for Liverpool. I wasn't surprised. I knew that they could score even more than that.
It's a massive comeback, one of the biggest. I knew Liverpool will make it because they've done it before. They never walk alone.
We've got details. Kindly stay. Thanks for your company. I'm Bernice Abubeidulansa. The details now. A joint police and military team has arrested some members believed to be affiliated to Homeland Study Group Foundation, a group agitating for an independent state they call Western Togoland. The arrest comes after their chairman, Charles Komi Kujoji, an octogenarian, and 8 others were picked up in Ho on Sunday evening by a combined team of armed police and military personnel and airlifted to Accra. This is the second time members of the group have been arrested in similar fashion. Fred Kwame Asare is our Volta region correspondent and he joins us live with details. Now, Fred, explain the circumstances leading to the arrest of these members and how many are they, by the way?
Okay, so I had the information this morning that the group was preparing to hold a press conference at the premises of their leader who was arrested on Sunday. But then when I got to the residence, I noticed there was a heavy military police present with scores of residents gathered in groups looking on. When I approached further, I saw that they were asking people that, are you part of them? Are you part of the police? And the military people were asking people, are you part of them? Are you part of them? And then they grouped them into, they grouped them at one place and then asked them to form a queue. Most of the people I saw were dressed in the group's T-shirt and also in red attire. So they formed a queue and then they were marched to the police vehicles. I counted about 30 persons who were made to mount the police and military vehicles parked on the street. And then also a bus has also been impounded, believed to be loaded with persons belonging to the Homeland Study Group. As we speak, the people have been locked up in cells at the Volta Regional Police Headquarters.
And Fred, what explanations have the police been offering for the arrest of these persons?
At the moment, the police are in a meeting trying to trash out issues before they speak to the media. But then information we gathered was that it is because the people belong to this group, this secessionist group called the Homeland Study Group. That was why they were arrested earlier. Some of them were also arrested in Javi. Some were also arrested in Ola, a suburb of Ho, and other places. So that is what I can say for now.
Fred, you say that these people had gathered to organize a press conference. Do we know exactly what they wanted to communicate?
The leaders or the people who were organizing the press conference are part of the people that have been arrested. So we are, at the moment, are unable to get the information they want to relay through the media.
Thank you very much. Fred Kwame Asare is our man in the Volta region, giving us details of that. Well, as you may know, the group Homeland Study Group Foundation, based in the Volta region, is fighting to get the Volta region to secede from Ghana to declare an independent country they call Western Togoland. Here is some background on why they've been agitating.
This is the second time the leadership of the Homeland Study Group Foundation has been arrested for attempting to declare the Volta region an independent state. Although they were charged with treason, they were later cautioned and discharged. The group has been demanding the secession of the Volta region and part of the northern, northeast, and upper east regions from Ghana to become the Western Togoland state as soon as possible. According to the group, the Gold Coast voted to be a unitary state on July 12, 1956, while the Western Togoland voted to be in union with Ghana, and that the union had not been established till now. Now, British Togoland was a dependent country administered by the United Kingdom under the supervision of the United Nations, spanning down from Pusiga on the Ghana-Burkina Faso border to Sokode in northern Togo, about 16 kilometers south of Ho, with a land size of about 33,776 square kilometers. On December 15, 1955, the UN General Assembly, by a resolution, asked the British to organize a plebiscite, which is more like a referendum, to find out whether the majority of the people there would desire either to unify with the then Gold Coast on its Independence Day or continue to be a trust territory until a final resolution was found. On May 9, 1956, of the 6 electoral districts made up of Mamprusi, Dagomba, Gonja, Buim, Krachi, Pando, and Ho, only the 2 southernmost areas of Pando and Ho voted for separation. In the view of Sir John Dring, the UK commissioner appointed to oversee the process, those who voted against joining the Ghana territory were too small to form a state on their own and therefore recommended it be unified with Ghana. On December 13, 1956, the UN General Assembly adopted Resolution 1044-11 to end the trusteeship and have British Togoland be unified on March 6, 1957, and so it became the 4th province.
That was a News Desk report. Now, we'll be bringing you more on this because we understand that the leader of the group agitating to have the Volta region secede from Ghana will appear before an Accra High Court. But before that, the Electoral Commission has been handed 12 months to ensure that the law allowing Ghanaians resident abroad to participate in national elections is operationalized. And Accra High Court, which gave the order, also awarded a cost of 8,000 cedis against the Commission. Justice Nicholas Abudapi, in his ruling, said, despite evidence showing the EC has failed to prioritize implementation of the law, there appears to be renewed commitment on the part of the new commissioners. Joseph Akable was in court. He joins us with details. Joseph, what are the reasons that the judge offer for his directive to the EC?
So he makes the point that the evidence that has been submitted to the court shows that the Electoral Commission has set up a committee to see to the modalities leading to the implementation of the law, and that committee, the judge said, is chaired by Dr. Bosman Asari, a deputy chairperson. He also noted that the EC for the first time is not alluding to resource and logistical constraints, which has been the main justification for failure to implement the law many times. And he says, for that, he doesn't think it is fair for anyone to assume that the Commission is simply disrespecting the court, for which reason he thinks the application for extension should be granted.
So how have both parties been reacting to the order, Joseph?
For lawyers for the Ghanaian resident abroad, something like he raised the issue about the fact that his clients have been dragged to court once again by the Electoral Commission, who was simply given an order to obey. So he actually asked for cost to the tune of 20,000 cedis, but the judge granted that of 8,000 cedis to them. But he says they are satisfied with the processes so far, and the expectation is that the Electoral Commission goes ahead to implement the law.
When will the case be heard next?
So there is a pending contempt case against the Electoral Commissioners. The Ghanaian residents abroad are also parties to that particular case. They are saying that the Electoral Commission, the commissioners should be committed to contempt for failing to obey the order because they were supposed to implement it within 12 months. So even though the extension has been granted, there's still that case pending, and that case will be heard on May 17.
Thank you very much, Joseph Akablethe, joining us from the Accra High Court. Now, the Fisheries Ministry says all fishermen who defy the directive not to fish within the close season will be punished. Now, it's a week to the implementation of that 1 month period when fishing activities are banned, and already there's resistance to the program. Some fisheries experts say the 15th May to 15th June period will not meet the objective of the closure. We'll hear from the Fisheries Ministry and experts on this shortly. But first, here are some concerns of fishermen who spoke to Joy News' Henry Kwesibedu at Jamestown in Accra.
Some agitated fishermen at Jamestown protesting government's planned ban on fishing next week. It's a Tuesday morning at Jamestown Beach here in Accra, the day nobody goes out to sea. Canoes carved out of giant trees line the shore. Other canoes are on the water as they stay anchored close by. Peter Nikwe Amwa has been a fisherman for years. He tells me there's no alternative source of income when the ban is enforced next week. Peter says fishermen at Jamestown have decided to defy the ban and go out to sea.
The government hasn't made any arrangements for other sources of livelihood for us during the close season, and this will greatly affect us. How are we going to take care of our families? We want the government to reconsider its decision on this subject. The government says anyone who will go fishing during the period will be arrested. In fact, we will defy this directive, so they arrest all of us.
Kojoka Kraba says his livelihood depends fully on fishing.
We have never agreed with the government on this close season issue. I can't survive a day without going to the sea. I don't know what will happen to me if I stay at home a whole month without fishing.
Kwabena Bentum is also a fisherman here. He says dealing with the country's depleting fish stock will require best fishing practices and not through the observation of closed season.
The fishing trawlers are also to blame for the depleting fish stock. Some fishermen in the country use light and small nets, which mostly catch the small pelagics. Strict adherence to best fishing practices will solve the problem.
Abla Olivia and Akosua Emefa operate local eateries at the Jamestown Beach. They are both of a view that the closed season will bring hardship.
I am a mother. My business will be heavily affected if the ban is finally implemented. I sell banku at the beach and all my customers are fisher folks. Apart from selling here, I don't have any other source of livelihood and income. Patronage has not been encouraging lately. I wonder what will happen during the closed season.
It is a case of conservation against a demand to make a living. Henry Kwesibedu's report for Joy News.
While speaking on the pulse on the Joy News channel yesterday, Chairman of the Scientific and Technical Group of the Sustainable Fisheries Management Project, Professor Kobna Yankson, said the proposed date will not yield the desired results and is even not backed by scientific research.
As far as our science is concerned, if there will be impact at all, it will be very minimal. You see, close season is implemented at a time that the fish, the target fish, is at the peak of its breeding. And in Ghana here, the peak breeding season for the small pelagic, which we are concerned about, is in August. But it begins from July and ends in September. In May and June, the fish are not in breeding season. If any small pelagic will be landed at all, they will not be in breeding season. They will not be carrying eggs for reproduction. And so if you close the season in May, June, you are not protecting the breeding fish. The close season is meant to protect the breeding fish so that they will spawn and the recruits will be added to the stock for the recruits to be fished later. Those leaders who spearheaded the Tema meeting were also invited to our meeting in Accra. And when we presented the slides information to them, one of them said that if they had known about this information, they wouldn't have taken the decision to close the season in May, June. So by saying that, our understanding was that he will go back and tell his people that the May, June date is not going to be beneficial.
You heard there Professor Kobina Yankson. He is chairman of the Scientific and Technical Group of the Sustainable Fisheries Management Project. Well, the ministry says it will enforce the ban and arrest those who violate the directive. Francis Atukujo is Deputy Minister of Fisheries.
There are fixed fishing laws, which includes seizure of fishing tools, a huge fine, and then even imprisonment. We have asked the neighbor community to assist us to police the crossing. We are also working with the chief fishermen. And I'm telling you, Jamestown, we have a huge team that will ensure that everybody complies. I don't think any single person will decide to defy the rest of the 99% who are in support of us. They cannot. We are actually appealing to every fisher to support us because we need to ensure that the sea returns to very productive state as it used to be to ensure our fishing doesn't collapse. Because we are talking about the job for over 2 million of our people. And if the fishes collapse, I'm telling you, you can bring the economy and the government down. And this is not what we want.
Francis Atukujo is Deputy Minister of Fisheries. While in a related development, former President John Mahama has been speaking to some fishermen here in the Greater Accra region to thank them or to thank the leadership of his party for electing him as flag bearer. My colleague Maxwell Agbagba is on that tour and joins us. Maxwell, we understand the former president has been making some promises to these fishermen. What exactly has he been saying?
Well, he's promising them of affordable outboard motors and other fishing implements if he's voted into power in 2020. He's also assuring them that when the NDP is voted in 2020, they will return to an arrangement where the access to premix fuel is, much easier. The fishermen have also been sharing with him some of the challenges when they go to sea, and he has been responding to some of the challenges they have been, raising. First, he was at Kukubite, but earlier he was at Botiano, then went to Kukubite, and then his last stop now was at Tuba, where he interacted, with some farmers. Right now, we understand he's heading to a different location, that is Soko.
Maxwell Agbagba there giving us some details of former President John Dramani Mahama's tour of the Greater Accra region. We'll be bringing you more on that. Apologies for the low quality in sound there. Now, students of the KNUST in Kumasi have kicked against moves by the university authorities to control sports betting on the campus. The Information Technology Department has already blocked access to all betting sites on the university's internet Wi-Fi system, pending a final decision by the academic board. Acting University Relations Officer James Oberkun says the practice is becoming pervasive at the expense of academic work.
I can confirm that the subject is on it's at various levels of discussion, but the decision has not been taken. So we cannot really discuss the issue in the light of it being a decision by the university. The subject for discussion is gambling and its effect on our students. So that is what is on. And as to how the decision will go, we'll have to wait for the final day.
So tell us about this gambling and betting on campus. How bad is it and how is it impacting the education of these students?
Well, David, it's reached levels that we cannot really be proud of. The university was set up to train our young brothers and sisters into responsible citizens for this nation in the future. But gambling has taken a huge toll of their academic work, and that is our concern.
That was acting KNUST Relations Officer James Oberkun speaking to Lava FM's David Akwete there. Well, some students are protesting the decision.
I'm a guy who likes sports, and then I also like to take live bets on live matches. But this restriction on these Betway accounts and then those stuffs, it's really, 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 really bad. Because that's the only way I used to make money and then feed myself. So with the restriction now placed on the Wi-Fi, I can't do anything. I can't feed myself. I can't do anything. I can't even buy clothes for myself. So I really beg of the school to release this restriction from the Wi-Fi.
I just don't see the essence of them blocking the Wi-Fi on betting sites. The thing is, are they trying to stop us from betting, or they don't want us to use the Wi-Fi again? Because blocking the Wi-Fi doesn't mean you wouldn't bet again. You get it? So for them to block the Wi-Fi, it doesn't stop me from betting. I can use the normal data and then bet. So I don't know their point on blocking the Wi-Fi for betting sites and all that. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to all of us. So I think they should find a way of stopping us, not the Wi-Fi, something they are trying to do.
You heard there some students of the KNUST. You're listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Benis Abubedulansa. Still to come, a 5-year-old has died after a building collapsed on her during a rainstorm last night at Sirigu in the Kasina Nankana West District of the Upper East region. We've got details to stay. Thank you so much for staying here on Joy 99.7 FM. Benedict Owusu has sports.
You want us to try what we wanted to do on TV?
You never walk
alone. So Liverpool Anfield Club Origi van Dijk are still trending after yesterday's amazing comeback against Barca in the UEFA Champions League. Well, 4-0 sees Liverpool through to a second successive finals. Well, here are views of some Ghanaians who watched the game.
Oh, it's really wonderful. I think this will be one of the miracles, the 8th wonder of the world. Liverpool 3 down to win 4-0. Come on, they are taking the Champions League this season. Oh, so Liverpool.
I mean, Liverpool did massively well, and I'll give the credit to Liverpool's coach.
You know, so I'm not really surprised. Even though that, you know, I mean, I didn't even think they could play this good. But for them to play possessive football like this and win in such a manner, it's amazing.
It was something else yesterday, and I keep saying it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable yesterday. And you know, tonight there's one other game. Ajax Spurs. Ajax going into that game, having won the first leg 1-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So we'll see if Spurs can also overturn that deficit and join Liverpool in the finals. But the match day 10 of the normalization committee is coming on this afternoon following the Referees Association of Ghana's decision to call off their strike. Now, RAG asked all their members to suspend all activities on Monday due to unpaid arrears in the ongoing competition. But after a meeting between the executives of the association and the sports ministry yesterday, they have actually decided to go back and officiate today's round of matches. Here's a national instructor of the association, Thomas Atifu.
Like I said in the initial state, always you go and look for our money. So if your money has been given to you, what else will you do?
So as you speak, you all have the money?
Yeah, we have our money because my treasurer is taking the check as we speak. That is why you see referees going.
All right, so that's referee Atifu, is national instructor of the Referees Association of Ghana. So in terms of the games to expect this afternoon in the normalization special competition, Mediama SC will take on Ashanti Gold, and also Kumasi Asante Kotoko will be in Kumasi to play Bechem United. Bekum Chelsea, they actually were banned from using their stadium. That ban has been lifted, so they will play at the Golden City Park against 11 Wonders. And then Wafa will be at the Sogakope Park to play against Dreams FC. Elmina Sharks Dwarfs, that's the regional derby. Then in Tema we'll have Intala Karela. The big one, of course, at the Accra Stadium, where we'll have Accra Heartful play against Liberty Professionals. But there's something briefly I need to tell you about the Black Queens. You know, they are starting the WAFU Women's Cup of Nations today. Their title defense, and they're up against
Sure, we wish them all the best. Thank you very much, Benedict Owusu there with sports. Now, a 5-year-old girl has died after a building collapsed on her during a rainstorm last night at Sirigu in the Kasina Nankana West District of the Upper East region. One other person, a security man, lost his life when a building in the private school he was watching over fell on him while he slept. The roofs of several homes have been ripped off. We can speak to the assembly member for the area, Moses Akankile, who has just been on a tour of the area with NADMO officials. Thank you, sir, for joining us, sir. What's your assessment of the damage done by the rains?
Yeah, for the assessment so far that we have done, it is so devastating, so disturbing. So far, we have been to about 5 schools, public schools, and it has been affected seriously. Then 2 casualties have been recorded. One man, which is about 60-something years, 50 plus. Then a small girl too, who is about 5 years, has passed on due to the windstorm.
Do we have a number to those who've been displaced as a result of this?
For now, it will be difficult for us to give you a number, because when you look at the situation, it's very pathetic. Because looking at the situation, it will be very difficult for us to get appropriate number, because for now we are still going around assessing the public places.
So when are victims expected to receive aid from NATMO?
For that one, it will be difficult for me to say it, because when we're going around, the NATMO director said he will also get in contact with his regional boss, and from there, whatever support they can get to the victims, they will come to their aid.
Thank you very much for your time. Moses Akankili is Assemblyman for Sirigu in the Kassina Nankana West district of the Upper East region. We'll bring you more on this. Meanwhile, in the Ashanti region, more than 200 students of the Opong Memorial Senior High School at Kokofu have been displaced after a rainstorm, and the incident occurred at the time students were at the dining hall having supper. Authorities have been forced to convert classroom facilities into dormitories to accommodate affected students who are yet to come to terms with the incident. Ohiming Teria is on that beat and joins us live. Describe the extent of damage to us, Ohiming.
Thank you. The three house facility housing over 200 students had its roof ripped off. And at the time of our visit, we realized that part of the roofs have to travel mid-air to about 20 meters off the dormitory and landed on the taxi cab which belongs to the senior house master. Students have been forced to also try and dry their personal belongings, which include soaked mattresses, books and clothes at the time of our visit.
You've been speaking to school authorities. What's the plan to fix the dormitory for these students?
Mr. Goin Prince Charles is the headmaster. He tells me the incident has affected academic work, and apart from the fact that it has also forced the students to also traumatize in that incident, he believes that the incident has also forced them to also convert two of their classroom facilities into dormitories. And he has been appealing to government for support immediately to ameliorate the plight of students and teachers.
Thank you very much, Ohiming Teria, joining us from the Ashanti region. Now, the Kaneshie police is questioning one landlady whose home was raided last night after police received some information that her home was being used for the NIA registration. Some items were seized, including registration forms, passports, fingerprint machines, laptops and scanners. And no arrests have been made so far, but the woman is just being questioned. John News' Matilda Wemega is following this story and joins us with more. Matilda, has the police identified those behind the late night registration?
Exactly, Bernice, they have been identified. These are two young men, I'm told, are officials of NIA, but their names were not given to us, but they have identified them. They are still trying to reach them, but they haven't been successful. But they said they will update us on who exactly these individuals are. But what we are told is that this has been happening in the house of this particular landlady at North Kaneshie, close to the St. Teresa Catholic Church, and this is where they have been operating, and they got the information from some people who are NDC executives within the constituency. They suspected that something of that sort was happening in the house. But interestingly, some of the information we gathered is that some of these equipment was mounted in the landlady's bedroom, kitchen, and this registration were going on as at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and 12 midnight. These equipment were on, and these people were being registered. And you know that the NIA registration ends at between 5 and 6 p.m. if people are still in the queue. So this is what is raising the issue that they are suspecting that some form of illegality is happening in that particular house, Dennis.
Thank you very much, Matilda Wemega, there for us. But let's move on to an issue that is trending. That's how electrified Anfield was last night when Liverpool produced an unbelievable all-action display to claw back and then ultimately overturn their 3-0 deficit from the Nou Camp to beat Barcelona 4-0 and reach the Champions League final. But if you missed it, well, here's the highlights. Well, sorry, we can bring you that now, but indeed it was incredible. And Liverpool is heading to Madrid. My colleague Nancy Amefajodosi has been speaking to some football fanatics.
The Barcelonans got to the point of complacency, thinking that once they have won three down, they're going to take it. But this is where the Liverpools prove to them that indeed they are real. It's a massive comeback, one of the biggest. Sure.
Before the match, I knew that Liverpool could have won, and truly too, they won. So I'm really happy for Liverpool. Oh, I wasn't surprised. I knew that they could score even more than that.
Okay, actually, I'm a Barca fan. And Barca forever. From the beginning, let's say for the 10-minute time, I realized that Barca may lose because due to the information given by the coach. So we're playing according to what the coach said we should play. So that's why Messi was off. The winner deserved it.
I knew Liverpool will make it because they've done it before. They never walk alone.
You had the Sam, football enthusiast, sharing their thoughts on Liverpool's performance last night. But that's how we end this edition of the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. I am Bernice Abubedu-Lansa. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Our top story today, joint police and military team in who arrest members affiliated to Homeland Steady Group Foundation, agitating for an independent state they call Western Togoland. Good afternoon.